Hi, Abraham. It's great to be here. I've wanted to meet you for a really long time, so it's just wonderful. I've been thinking about a couple questions. The first one has to do about the emotional journey, and I don't know if there's a dichotomy, because I know at the end of Asking It's Given, you talk about how everything's an extension of emotion, and I was thinking like, okay.
Well, emotions are an indicator of everything. Everything is not an extension of emotion. Everything is an extension of thought. And emotion is an indicator of the extended thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was curious about, and one of the processes, you talk about feeling good, or worse physically. I think it's the reclaiming one's natural health process. Yeah. And, I know you also talk about relaxing and chilling out and that kind of thing. And I appreciate it, because I totally believe in that. And I feel like I'm good at like feeling physically better. I want to get better at feeling like emotionally better. And, I've read a number of your books, and I know you talk so much about it. So I feel like, why don't I just go back and study that more? But I was curious if there's something you might want to say to me about it. Because like I said, I feel like I can feel physically better a lot easily, but I just want to get good at really moving that up that emotional scale, like in a kind of comfortable next logical step way kind of thing.
We'll insert something to begin with, and then we have a question for you. The way we have been describing emotions, for example, we say satisfying and better lead to better and better physical feeling, and satisfied and worse lead to worse and worse physical. And so it's kind of the other way around from what you just said. In other words, if you've got a strong negative emotion that is chronic, we sort of have been saying sarcastically, don't worry, it will get more, because everything becomes more. And so then we've been saying that, for example, physical pain is just physical negative emotion that wasn't turned around, and so it just became more. The point that we're making is that if you've figured out how to become physically stronger and feeling better, then you've figured the other out too. You're just not giving yourself credit for it, because the physical situation does follow the emotional situation. That's good clarification, isn't it?
It's really good.
Now we'll hear you.
Okay, I was thinking about one more question that I had.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm pretty familiar with your work, so I feel like I know the short answer, but I'll just present it anyway. You talk about being an uplifter, and I've just been thinking about lately about the idea of being a positive influence. And I know you say the greatest gift that we have to give to others is our own happiness. And,
yes.
Everything comes from like our alignment. So sometimes I feel like, and maybe it just goes back to the way that, I was taught when I was younger that like, I know you talk about inspired action too, but I feel like, okay, if I really want to make a change, I am just going to have to, take some kind of positive action, like do something. But at the same time, like, I feel like certain times, and maybe I'm just coming to learn more about you.
But before you go further into that, we want to tell you why that is. Okay. Do you know why doing something for someone benefits you? Because, well, we're going to tell you. Let's say you got stuff going on and you're not feeling all that good, and let's also acknowledge it's because you've been noticing things not the way you want them to be, and you've sort of been complaining and therefore holding yourself in a holding pattern. But then when you see someone who you can help in some way, now you've got your attention off of yourself, which has a complaining pattern, and on to something else. And in the moment that you're not doing that complaining thing, you get into the receiving mode, and then you feel better. Isn't that interesting? That's why people have come up with this distorted statement, it's better to give than to receive, when really everybody's receiving the results of whatever influence that they're under. And there's no assertion, there's only receiving. Did you follow that? Did we lose you a little bit in that? There's only receiving. So just start with the premise. There's only receiving. So let's say you accept that there's receiving, and you meditate and you focus on positive aspects, and you stay pretty chronically in the receiving mode, which means you're hooked in with all of that clarity, and all of those bright ideas come, and another idea comes, and another idea comes, and it just looks like you're just giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. But unless you're receiving and receiving and receiving and receiving, you got nothing to give and give and give and give and give. Don't you like knowing how that all fits together? And isn't it nice when others are asking? and you can be one of the cooperative components. In other words, isn't this mutuality or this harmony that we're talking about with your inner being, if there's going to be a solution, doesn't there need to be a problem? Isn't that mutuality? If there's going to be an answer, doesn't there need to be a question? Isn't that mutuality? If there's going to be satisfaction, doesn't there need to be a dissatisfaction? Isn't it all just great? But then when you remember your inner being has just taken the expansion and taken the expansion and taken the expansion, and now you're aware of your relativity between your expanded beingness, then it all comes full circle, doesn't it? It all becomes clear. Don't you feel clear today? Do you feel clear today? Yes. Clear about what you're going to do next? Don't you feel sort of inspired to being nicer to yourself and taking more care of yourself and feeling better about more things and getting into the receiving mode? Aren't you ready to cash in your vibrational currency? Yeah. And so?
Thank you for that. There was one other thing I was thinking about that was just for fun. It's not really a question, but
we'll turn it into one.
Oh, okay. I remember you mentioning that Esther found that she likes rap, and there's actually a song that I feel like it's pretty much about what you guys teach. It's about just doing things because they feel good. It's a premise through the song that keeps on being repeated, and I was wondering if it's a pretty clean song actually, but I was wondering if I could share that, and
yeah.
I thought Esther might like it.
Yeah,
so.
she will for sure.
Okay. The artist is Gift of Gab, and the song is called Just Because. And I sometimes when I'm studying your material, I'll turn that song on, and it just keeps me sort of in the flow or something. So I wanted to share that. So.
Let's hear it.
Oh. I need a little more practice, so just a little bit.
But we're in the receiving mode.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't. He just in the chorus he keeps on talking about not because my expectation is for fame and success, not because my rent's coming and I'm feeling the stress, not even. It's something else. I'm not sure about the lyrics, but just because this feels good, and that's like the chorus, and
everyone will download it.
Yeah, it's really good. So, yeah.
Really good.
Thank you, Abraham.
Yes, indeed.